Hello everybody, welcome to another exciting episode, well, I hope it's exciting, of Magic Duels. Previously I showed, the Werewolves deck, which doesn't work in Two-Headed Giant very well, as I explained. If you missed that episode, check it out previously. But today I want to talk about another deck, Forest Wolves, that is quite popular and I've created, and this one will actually work in Two-Headed Giant. So a little different than the Werewolf deck, but still full of wolves, and werewolves of course. So first we have the Keswick Prowler, and the reason why this works is you get to transform these werewolves by paying mana into the Sinuous Predator, which is actually pretty useful because it can't be blocked by more than one creature, so it can only be single blocked. Of course, we got Primal Bellows in the deck because lots of forests. This is a mono green deck. Duskwatch Recruiter has another human that changes into a werewolf. Once again, some of these transform werewolves, don't get to transform very often in Two-Headed Giant, like the Lampold Pacifist, of course, because often the opponents are playing 2 or more spells per turn, so it's hard to transform a lot of these. But there's quite a few green wolves that we're using in this deck that we can transform them manually just by paying a mana cost. We've got the full set of the Timber Pack Wolves. Not the greatest, but you can only have 4, but they get +1/+1 for each other of the same names, so it can be pretty nasty if you have a bunch of these. Usually you don't draw all 4. A couple copies of Plummet in the deck, good green card, always great for dealing with flyers. Nature's Way, of course. Not a fight spell, so it's great. Gives your creature vigilance, and you can take out an opposing creature without having to do a trade or deal damage to your own creature. The Silver Fur Partisan is another nice wolf that, if anything gets targeted, you get to make wolf tokens, so very, very useful, targeting your own creatures. We have Spirit of the Hunt in this deck, double green. Didn't have this in the Werewolf deck, but this is really nice. It has flash and gives everything +0/+3 until end of turn, so you can use it to save your creatures, have a surprise attack, etc., etc. Here's another werewolf that transforms, of course, if nobody plays cards, but that doesn't happen very often. Here's another one of these pay to transform wolves, the Shrill Howler. So once again, this won't be affected, and this one's good in Two-Headed Giant because you can just use it as a mana sink and transform into this Eldrazi werewolf, which makes 3/2 horror tokens whenever it deals combat damage, so pretty nasty if you can get it going. Of course, Howlpack Resurgence, great green card, gives all wolves and werewolves +1/+1 and trample. And that's a huge death blow, is the trample. Pulse of Marasas, a great just way to get a key card back from your graveyard and gain 6 life. Always useful. We've got the Pack Guardian, another double green wolf spirit. If you've got extra lands, you can make a 2/2 token with it. It's also got flash, pretty nice. And we are running Cult of the Waxing Moon, just in case some of our creatures do transform or transform back. We get to make lots of 2/2 green wolf tokens with it. A little pricey, of course, but it can be powerful. And then the mana base is just 23 forests. Nice and simple. So let's go ahead and check it out and see how the deck works. We'll go ahead and showcase a few games. You could do some other utility lands. I'm not running any, but because sometimes there are a lot of tokens, like Ormondal, Profane Prince. You could probably run that one or two of those. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out a few games against an opponent, and then we'll actually do a two-headed giant with this deck. Because previously, the werewolves, as I demonstrated in my previous video, the werewolves just don't work in two-headed giant, which is really sad. Unique situation where two-headed giant is a bad format for a deck. So this is kind of an alternative. The green forest wolves deck. And once again, it's because we can transform our wolves by just using mana. So, yep, that's going to get censored. That's okay. Yeah, he was keeping up 2 mana, and so I was afraid that the opponent had censor there. And the wolf pack is probably a little more valuable. Especially if I draw more. Just because transforming these wolves, there we go, yeah, see. So now we've got a couple of the timber pack wolves. I'm still hesitant to play them into 3 open mana. But in the meantime, we're putting some damage in with this other werewolf. And yeah, once again, if your hand is empty or if you just got a lot of forests down, you can transform these werewolves. So that one's going to transform since the opponent didn't play anything. Well, guess I'll go ahead and run one of these out. The second one might get countered. No? Okay. A couple of 3/3s is nice. I'm not sure why the opponent's not doing anything. Maybe they have a commit to memory they want to use. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, sadly, my werewolf's going to transform back because I played 2 spells. Okay, opponent finally plays out a flyer. Pretty good blocker, actually. Kind of an annoying blocker. Could use a copy of Plummet. So here we got enough mana, I can just transform this. Keswick Prowler. And you can do it manually if you don't feel like playing anything. Another thing that's cool is, like, by transforming this, I didn't actually play any cards. So my other werewolves that are out there will transform. So he's just going to let that through, and my other werewolf will transform back since I didn't actually play any cards. So yeah, the reason I'm kind of showcasing this deck is if you wanted to play the werewolf kind of archetype with all the wolves and werewolves with a friend in two-headed giant, this is the way to do it. Since the normal green and red werewolf deck just does not work in two-headed giant. Well, that flyer is getting a little scary, and you played 2 spells. But Spirit of the Hunt is a pretty good draw. Let's go ahead and see what he does here and kind of demonstrate how Spirit of the Hunt works here. It's great for a surprise, protecting your creatures. So it gives them all an extra +3. So I didn't lose any there. Of course, if I had Trample, it would have been even better. And I might as well get this back from the graveyard. Gain 6 life. But yeah, our opponent's in trouble unless he's got a sweeper. He's just going to pull from tomorrow, draw a bunch of cards. That's going to leave him tapped out. Well, I was hoping for a Plummet, so I could just do a pure attack, but no such luck. Gonna lose one here, but that's okay. This is lethal. Alright, on to the next one. Let's try another round. Once again, if you're wanting to see the two-headed giant round, feel free to skip there. Can't keep this hand. There's a lot of really nice, only 2 drops, but with 1 land, can't do it. This is probably decent if I can draw 1 more land. But yeah, if you want to see the two-headed giant, feel free to skip these kind of single-player showcasings. I just want to kind of show off how the deck works, how you can use it, if you're interested in making it, and if you like mono green and you're sick of mono green elves as a type, mono green wolves might be something that you will enjoy. I kind of like it. It's a nice change of pace, and I also like the trample that a lot of werewolves have. Of course, this deck works really good in single player, because you can transform your werewolves pretty easily. But in two-headed giant, it doesn't work quite as good, but it's better than the other deck that I showcased with the werewolves. I know I keep repeating myself, but just trying to reduce the stress from getting my Silver Fur Partisan countered with Censor. It's just so upsetting that I just have to start repeating myself. Oh, there's a Juggernaut. I don't really have a clean answer for that right now. So the Juggernaut's gonna hurt. Nature's Way isn't gonna do much because I need at least a 3/3. So kind of a waste to play Spirit of the Hunt, but I do need something with 3 power. Let me just go ahead and I'm going to gain 6 life, so the first attack from the Juggernaut won't be too devastating. Get my Partisan back. But yeah, I'm going to... Hopefully I can draw something with 3 power, or a way to buff my Timber Pack Wolves. There's a flyer. I can easily take care of that with Plummet. But yeah, this 5/3 is going to be a problem. Can take out the flyer with Nature's Way. Let's go ahead and attack and we'll see if he tries to block me, and if so, I can just flash this in as a trap. But no, I may have to just put this in anyway. And then next turn, I can use Nature's Way to take out the Juggernaut. But yeah, taking some heavy damage here. The Juggernaut has to attack, by the way, has no choice. And I can't block the flyer. But yeah, hopefully we can stabilize a bit here next turn with a couple of these kill cards. Pack Guardian's always nice. So let's start with Nature's Way. Take out the Juggernaut. Once again, won't lose our creature because it's not a fight spell. And of course gives Vigilance, which is always nice. Get a free attack in with Trample. Wow, he's gonna chump that, huh? Interesting. And then I'll just plummet this. So now we're in a little bit better shape. Can't be too comfortable though. It's another flyer. So yeah, that's why I plummet, and also Nature's Way, because we can use Nature's Way to take out flyers as well. The deck doesn't have a lot of reach creatures, so flyers can be problematic. That's why those kill cards are in the deck. But yeah, I think we're doing pretty good now. There are a couple other nasty, like that 5/3 blue flyer. It's just gonna embalm. It's not gonna do much. Hey, another timber pack wolf is always nice. Yeah, I kind of made a mistake last turn. I should have played that Silver Fur Partisan before I played Nature's Way. That would have... So I should have had an extra 2/2 on the field right now. So that was kind of a misplay on my part. Should have played the Partisan first before you play your spell on your own creature. That way he spawns a 2/2 werewolf token. So we can play the Guardian here, I guess. Looks like our opponents may be giving up. I can discard this land, don't need it at this point. Make it 2/2. But yeah, at this point I should have had another 2/2 token. So that was a misplay, but didn't really affect the game any. Let's try one more. So yeah, the deck is pretty good. It's pretty powerful, surprisingly. This is a pretty good hand. I've got some more of these wolves that I can just transform, at will, just by paying mana. Good mana sink in the late game when you got nothing going on. Didn't get to show off the Shrill Howler yet, so hopefully I can. It's got kind of a skulk mechanic. Creatures with power less than it can't block it. And it has 3 power, so kind of hard to chump block it. You can't block it with a 1/1 or a 2/2, for example. You have to sacrifice a bigger creature if you want to block this Shrill Howler. And then the transformed version is also quite nasty and has the same ability. Just adding the Eldrazi token generation as well. Well, Cult to the Waxing Moon is a very powerful endgame creature. Even though it's not a werewolf itself, it's a shaman, but works great in this mono green deck. Ooh, commit. Okay, well, that's no big deal. Yeah, I didn't play the Shrill Howler out because I was afraid something would happen and it would get removed. I want to play it when I have a bunch of extra mana, that way I can maybe transform it. Sadly, this 2/2 is holding off most of my attacks. But the opponent did play the that enchantment that makes flyers. So if he decides to make some flyers, I can just plummet those. Yep. It's gonna cycle a card and make a 2/2 flyer. Can get quite a nasty if there's lots of 2/2 flyers. Since once again this is kind of weak to flyers, so he's going to attack me for 2 in the air. That's alright. Didn't play anything else, so I get to transform. That's nice. Oh, Primal Bellows is always nice to have. Go ahead and attack first here, since he might have a counter spell up for my Howler. Okay, he's going to make another 2/2 to try to ambush my attackers. Let's just plummet that. Hopefully, oh, perfect. He blocked the Trampler, which is what I was hoping. So I get to target it, make a 2/2 token, and buff it up so I don't lose it. The trample damage goes through. Oh wow, he had another cycle card, so he could have ambushed another wolf there. Not sure why he didn't. Maybe he just wanted to get attack in the air. No, he's gonna keep his tokens on defense. Probably wise. Surprised the AI opponent is often way better than humans. Let me go ahead and maybe just transform one of these, or we can play out the cult. Let's try that just to show it off. But yeah, the AI is much more wise with keeping blockers back. Whereas I watch a lot of games online, players are just really dumb. They're very aggressive. Too aggressive. When you have good blocks on an opponent, you should never attack. Just, keep your blocks. And I would say 90% of the losses that I see are people just being too aggressive with their attacks when they're low on life, hoping to push through damage, but that's not the way you win a game of Magic. Now, see, I can transform this at will, and that will trigger the cult of the waxing moon, the 5/4 there, to make a 2/2 werewolf. And once again, he can't double block my 4/4. So this is going to transform, and I'm going to make another 2/2. So hopefully you can see some of the cool synergies going on here. Ooh, Gideon. That can be an issue, since if he makes the emblem, I can't win the game unless I destroy the Gideon Planeswalker. So this emblem says he can't lose, and I can't win. So we'll need to take out Gideon as soon as possible to force him to keep those flyers back as chump blockers. Another Primal Bellows is very nice. But I'm going to go ahead and transform this. Get another 2/2. Kind of keep the pressure on here. So once again, these 4/4s he cannot double block. I could lose the 5/4 here in this attack, but it's probably okay. Should have attacked with my 3/5 also. So he's going to chump those two, just to keep Gideon alive, since once again, even if his life goes to 0, he can't lose the game. So now the 5/4 can't do any damage because of Gideon. Let's see if he gets aggressive here. Yep, he's going to get aggressive. Since his life total doesn't matter anymore. But I think that I can take Gideon out now. So let me go ahead and attack first. Make sure Gideon goes down. So my 5/4 isn't going to do anything. Go ahead and attack with the trample creature. So if he blocks that one, because that's a logical looking block, I'll just pump it and make another 2/2. Alright, Gideon's gone. I mean, I could have gone for lethal there with all those tokens, to be honest, all the 2/2 tokens, but I kind of like my wolves. They're my pets, and I don't want any of them to die needlessly. So the opponent knows that he's done for, so he's just doing a desperation attack there. Ooh, memory. Get to draw a new hand. It's always fun. But yeah, I think he's pretty dead here. Let's play out just a bunch of our wolves here. And we'll finish him off with a big attack. So yeah, lots of fun. Alright, let's go ahead and see a two-headed giant round with this deck. See how it performs. Alright, so here we go. Once again, I don't recommend the werewolf archetype in two-headed giant. As I demonstrated in my previous video, it does not work very well at all, which is a very interesting situation. But this deck will actually work. Hey, we've got some appropriate artwork here too for the wolves. So I'm here with Wild Boar, my good buddy on the right. I'm going to be using this mono green wolf deck, and I'm not sure what he's using. I have a decent opening hand here, a lot of 2-drops, so okay to have 2 mana as a start. Doom Dissenter, huh? It's been a while since I've seen that. So it looks like he's doing the black, green, -1/-1 counter deck, or some variant thereof. Putting -1/-1 counters on things. Yep, definitely looks like it. To wait for him to play something. Now these pacifists probably won't transform anytime soon, but the Shrill Howler in my hand will. Oh man. See, a Doom Dissenter creates a 2/2 zombie when it dies. So that's nice cannon fodder for the -1/-1 counters. Yeah, Wild Boar's got a pretty tough choice. He's got a lot of good cards in his hand, so it's kind of hard to decide what to discard. I have 2 Duskwatch Recruiters, so I'm going to go ahead and discard one of those. He decided to get rid of his lifelinking creature. Not sure why the opponent's making that attack. He could have that single white card. It's an insta-kill. But, yeah, I'm fine making this block. He may just want to embalm this cat and gain 1 life. Yeah, he's just going to embalm it. Obviously doesn't have any other good plays, so might as well, I guess. You can embalm it for 1. At least the pacifist is a pretty good blocker for 2 mana. So let's see what Wild Boar plays. He could play that Exemplar and put the -1/-1 counters on the 1/1. That's what he's going to do, except using the 5/4 instead, and then get a zombie. So that Doomed Dissenter is just straight up cannon fodder for the -1/-1 counters. Pretty nice. Ah, there's that annoying 4/3 Minotaur. Can hit pretty hard if it's played early in the game. Well, sadly I'm not drawing any lands here, as I had hoped. Fortunately I had plenty of 2-drops in my hand, so I can keep playing stuff, but yeah, I'm getting behind on mana here. Maybe Wild Boar is going to play out his healer. We'll see. Yep, looks like it. Let's see where he puts the -1/-1 counters. Baleful Amit. I always forget the name of that one. It's kind of a weird name. And then the Defiant Great Maw can remove -1/-1 counters from another creature, but sadly he didn't have any others to remove it from. And it looks like he's happy trading the 3-4 off for the 4-3. Oh, opponent's going to double block. Well, that's a pretty wise move. Trading the 4-3 off and gaining 1 life in the process. But getting that 4-3 out of there was probably to our advantage, since it can hit pretty hard. Oh, that thing's annoying. Is he going to sacrifice his 2-2? Yep, he's going to take out my Timberwolves. Dirty. So yeah, that 4-3 can be annoying. Finally got my 3rd land. I'm going to go ahead and get the Partisan going here. That way if anything targets my creatures anymore, at least I get 2-2 wolves. So yeah, this Great Maw, I guess, it needs a -1/-1 counter on it to start with, and then it can remove -1/-1 counters. Couldn't quite remember how it worked. So he's going to play the good old elves. Draw a card. Another creature that's kind of a cannon fodder for -1/-1 counters, since it's only good for just drawing a free card pretty much. Yeah, losing the Timber Pack Wolves sounds like a tongue twister. Timber Pack Wolves, Timber Pack Wolves, Timber Pack Wolves. Bleh, it's hard to say. You want to have as many of those as possible. Oh, he's gonna kill a 4-3 with that, huh? It's kind of surprising. Thought he would go for my pacifists. As you can see, none of the werewolves on my side are transforming at all. That's because, you know, in Two-Headed Giant, almost always 2 spells are being played each turn. But hopefully I can get the Shrill Howler transformed here. Just need the mana for it. So Wild Boar did the play I mentioned. He just went ahead and put all those -1/-1 counters on the elf, so that he had as a 4-4 in play for 2 mana. Pretty good price. Pretty good deal. 2 mana for a 4-4. And we have kind of a board stall here. If you're wondering, the 3-3s on my side, I cannot attack with them. That's why it's called the Pacifist. Or else I would have had a few good attacks in some previous rounds, but they can't attack unless I have a creature 4 or greater. Those Who Serve, kind of an annoying zombie. It's always a good blocker, being a 2-4. Kind of an annoying roadblock. Shoot, I'm still not drawing any lands. 3, 4, 5, 6, so we're on turn 6 or so. And I only have 3 mana, so... Wild Boar is going to play out the good old Woodland Bellower, one of my favorites. Pretty awesome bear green card. He can search up whatever he wants and put it onto the battlefield pretty much. See what he finds. Oh, a Tireless Tracker. Tireless Tracker is always great. That'll give him some card advantage, since his hand's kind of empty. Yeah, it takes a bit of mana to transform this into the Howling Chorus, but when I do, this Howling Chorus thing is pretty nasty. He can only single block it, and if he doesn't, of course it makes 3/2 Eldrazi horror tokens. So it's pretty nice. It really puts your opponent in a lurch. You know, it's like, should I block it? You know, they have to chump block it with a single creature. can't double block it, and if they don't, they have to face a 3-2 horror. Uh-oh, another one of those. Is he going to sacrifice the first? Yep. To do 4 damage. And the opponent's probably fine doing that. Finally got another land. Because he can just embalm those 4 3s. This Pack Guardian, you know, it would have been a better play, but I really want an extra land so I can make a token with it as well. But right now, maybe I can't afford, you know, waiting for those extra lands, because kind of low on lands this whole game. Although I guess I didn't realize the opponent across from me is also a little mana screwed. That's why he hasn't been doing much. And he has a full hand of cards because he's only got 3 mana. So all's fair, I guess. He is kind of mana screwed, and I've been kind of mana screwed also. But yeah, maybe just one more land or 2 more land and I'm golden. Don't need any more after that. So yeah, he's going to embalm that 4-3. Oh, he's not going to sacrifice the other one. That's interesting. I guess he felt like he didn't have too many targets. The 3-3s on my side aren't really, you know, all that dangerous since they can't attack. But we are kind of a board stall here. The opponent doesn't have a good attack. And we don't have the best attacks. We could do some trading, maybe trade off. Wow, I actually got to transform my werewolves. So I can play this for 1 cheaper. So that's lucky. I mean, they're not going to stay transformed, but hey. So yeah, this Howler, since he transformed, gives me the ability all creatures cost 1 less. So Wild Boar is going to get rid of the token. And I might as well attack, since these are going to transform back anyway. I'll keep my Howler though, just in case I can maybe transform it again. So we'll put some pressure on the opponent here. It's going to do a double block on the first, or the, not first striker, the trample creature. And yeah, my wolves are going to transform back, as you can see, into normal. It's hard to keep them transformed into the powerful version. But hopefully I can transform my Howler, make some tokens. Just missing the lands. Yeah, this deck could maybe use Cultivate. Wow, he actually didn't play anything. So I get to transform and make a bunch of 2/2 wolves. It's kind of surprising. Usually doesn't happen that often in Two-Headed Giant, but hey, there we got 2 Timberpack wolves. Awesome. Wild Boar is going to use Fatal Push to get rid of the token. Always a great answer to a token. It's Fatal Push. And 2 Timberpack wolves is nice. Can probably start getting aggressive here again. These 4/4s. Yeah, our opponent's in trouble here. Is this lethal? This is getting pretty close. Wow, almost lethal there. And Wild Boar is going to cast Return. Maybe get rid of the opponent's Embalm creature so he can't bring it back. We'll see. He's looking at the graveyards to see what's the best thing to exile, looks like. Okay, he's doing something over there. That makes a 2/2 zombie. I guess the other creatures have been exiled. Well, it looks like the opponent's given up since we have way too many creatures on our side. I don't know. But yeah, once again, they transformed back since 2 spells were played. But if the opponent has a board wipe, which is possible, a Griffin, that's not going to cut it. There are some board wipes, like Dusk to Dawn, that could do it. Oh, that's always a nasty creature. Putting -1/-1 counters on everything. Now, if he had enough mana to discard several cards, yeah, he could destroy my board with that 5/4. But it looks like it came a turn too late. And yeah, now I have Howlpack Resurgence. So pretty much every creature I have is going to have trample now. So I might as well go all out here. And I'm going to flash this in, of course, just to be flashy. Everything's got trample. But yeah, that 5/4 could have been a problem if the opponent had played it earlier. And that should be game! Awesome! Fun deck! Hope you guys try it out. Thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this Magic Duels video. Thanks Wild Boar for the really fun game together. We gave him -47. Haha! Check out my main channel, East Guru Japan Gaming. The link is in the description if you want to see some more great gaming content. That's my main channel. And thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the great game, Wild Boar. Let's play another round. And we'll see the rest of you next time. Ja minasan, mata ne.